Hello friends, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing some more color theory and I'm going to show you how I change colors and shift color without using color remover. So she still has a lot of blue in there and she wanted to go to more of a pinky purple. And so what I am going to do is using Danger Jones, Hustler, and Lovesick, which is like a magenta and a neon pink, and some of my B3 Bond Builder in there for strength and longevity. I am just going to paint this through all of her hair. So the parts that are more blue are just going to be a nice purple, like a really pretty deeper purple. And then the more purpley tones will be more berry. And then any of that blonde on the ends, I'm going to get some nice pink. So that will be awesome. But I would so much rather use color like this to cancel out any tones versus removing it and damaging them. Because if I can avoid color remover, I will. Even though it's not as damaging as traditional bleach or lightener, whatever you want to call it, I would just prefer to work with what I have versus trying to take everything out, and then you're still going to have minty tones, and it's just kind of a waste of time. And especially when your client has really fine hair like Judy does, I just don't want to risk anything. I have to lighten the new growth one time when I do her highlights every like 6 months or so, and then we're good. But as you can see, we only do the underneath on Judy. So if you actually go back in my videos to my very first tutorial, that is Judy's hair, and it was when we did sunset. So you can also see that I use extensions on her, which they're kind of in the reflection in the mirror. They're purple on my chair, but I had already removed the extensions here and washed her and dried her, did a little K18 mask before I applied all of this. Semi-permanent hair color always is going to work better when you have freshly shampooed hair with no conditioner. And like I said, I like to use a little K18 mask. I've never had a problem with that affecting the color, but using a standard conditioner can create a barrier on the hair. So then because your semi-permanent color is chemical free, it's almost like a colored conditioner. So it's like putting two conditioners on top of each other, and you're not going to get as vivid or vibrant of an effect if you're doing that on hair with a barrier versus fresh, clean hair without that barrier. I hope that makes sense. But like I said, Judy is also my very first video. If you scroll back to that very first one, the sunset hair, you can see my extension install on her, since I did not include the extension install on this video. If you are curious how much I use, where I put them, it's only one pack of tape-ins and it's super simple, and you can check it out on video 1. It's actually the same hair. We've just shifted the color of it like probably 5 or 6 times now. So we're always doing something fun. And yeah, it's probably one of the most requested colors that I get is like that hidden hair color placement. I feel like it's for a lot of people with big girl jobs. Judy is a literal freaking scientist. So yeah, she's researching like cancer cures. So she is a boss business lady with fun hair. I do not want to ever hear anybody say that fun hair color is not professional, because this woman is a straight up scientist. So there. But I am just going to finish applying all of this, and you can see I like to use my brush to almost comb through that color, and you want to try to not overwork the color. Also, if you start to see like a white film when you are working with semi-permanent hair color, that means that you've worked it in too much. So you want to be careful. I probably don't like to go more than like 4 or 5 inches with one like brush swoop full of color, if that makes sense, like a scoop of color every 4 to 5 inches. I'll wet my brush again, because especially if it's thicker hair. On thinner hair like Judy, that like 4 to 5 inches. If it's thicker hair, we're talking less, because it really has to get worked in there. But you can see I try to push that color in without overworking too much. And yeah, every little bit I'll add more color just to make sure that it is really good. And then I got the last of my bowl, just kind of getting it in there, and voila. Now, this is my favorite hack using these Framar bibs. I cover up her semi-permanent parts so that it's not going to mix with her permanent color. And even though I already know what I usually use, I still like to get out my swatches just to see what her hair has faded to and if we're still going to use the same color. So she has pretty light hair naturally, especially in the front where there's a lot of silver. So when I do Judy's money pieces, I actually just use permanent color. I don't even have to use lightener on her. I'll just do an 8-0 on those front little money pieces, very small area. And then here on her base, you can see I took out some from the sides so that I wouldn't be hitting any of the pink. I come back for those at the end, and I'm just hitting her new growth. I'm not running anything through the rest of her hair. I'm using Kevin Murphy permanent color here and using 7.0 and 7.3, which is a neutral and a gold, because she really likes those warm golden tones. And one thing that I do love about Kevin Murphy color, besides the fact that it is super clean, there's no ammonia, no MEAs, no PPDs, but one thing that I really love is that it's a multi-tonal hair color. So even when you're just doing somebody's roots, it looks like there's highlights. It is definitely my favorite permanent color. I've been using it for close to a decade probably. And I just love the multi-tonal, beautiful results I always get. Now, I know a little birdie told me that Danger Jones will be coming out with a permanent line soon, and I cannot wait to try that. But yeah, right now, this is what I have used for years, and it works great with gray coverage. And like I said, making it look like she has highlights without even having to do any lightener on her hair over there. And now I have my second bowl, or first, yeah, you can see that I pushed up those sides, and now all of that color is away, and I'm just making sure that it's all good, nice and covered. But when I do her money pieces, I like to get these little strips of foil and cover the darker hair. Not only is that going to separate the dark from the light, but it's also going to help me get a little bit more of a lift in the color. Just adding that little extra bit of warmth. With Kevin Murphy, it's really good to like stack those colors on top of each other. And yeah, just gonna paint those money pieces down onto her foils. And the only downside to the Kevin Murphy color is that there is a 45-minute processing time. So that one is kind of rough, but we do what we have to do. Lightener usually takes longer to process than that anyway, so you know. And it actually worked out because in that 45 minutes, I was able to color her extensions, which I did not get video of course, but I did get them as the color was sitting in them. But I did the same thing. I just added all of that Hustler and Lovesick pink all through her extensions. And they were pretty much the same color as her hair, a little bit deeper, because extensions usually tend to hold hair color better than regular hair. Even though they are human hair, there's something magic about hair extensions. They're probably just healthier and thicker and all of that, but they hold the color extremely well. Here is where we went to the bathroom and I just left my phone recording. I thought that was funny, so I left it in. But here is Judy's extensions after I ran that pink through. You can see we're getting that really pretty purple color on top and then pink toward the bottom. Here is our finished product. So gorgeous. absolutely love it. So yeah, you do not need remover to color shift. I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.